Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Grow Your Brand with Amanda. And today I have with me Joanne Pagett. Hello, Joanne.
Hi, Amanda.
Thank you for joining me. And
Pleasure.
Joanne is a women's empowerment coach, and she helps busy women who are struggling to find time to reach their strength, body, and health goals. And I'm going to take some inspiration from Joanne today because I have committed to trying to get more active this year. And I'm not going to get obsessed over it and fix a weight goal. I just want to get a little bit more healthy and eat a little bit more healthy. And I think that's enough for me to focus on. So
Sounds like a really good place to start.
it does, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
I used to buy fitness DVDs back in the day, and I used to think by buying the fitness DVD that was enough. So,
And they're probably still sat there under the TV gathering dust.
yeah, do you remember when that was a trend? Every
Yeah.
January there was a fitness DVD. So yeah, I was a marketer's dream. So, so before we kick off with the podcast, I'll just ask you a few of my questions to get to know you a little bit better. So,
Okay.
Joanne, do you have a favorite motivational song?
I do. It's a unusual one. It's an album track, but it's by the fantastic Beverly Knight, amazing voice, and it's
Mhm.
called Middle of Love. And it's a real like empowering female song that kind of just I just use it in the gym and it just really gets me going. And people obviously know that I'm listening to it in the gym as I'm standing there having a little wiggle.
If you can't boogie in the gym, where can you boogie? I love
Exactly.
her, but I don't know that track. I'm going to check it out. But she has such a voice. I love empowerment tracks, and we'll add that one to the playlist that goes with this podcast. And I love
Good.
the sound of that one. And do you have a motivational quote?
Yes, I do. I say it all the time and I say it to my clients, and it's simple, it's well recognized, and it's feel the fear and do it anyway.
Mm.
And I do actually live by that because last year I actually threw myself out of an aeroplane and done a parachute jump,
Did you?
raising over £2,000 for a cancer charity that's local to me.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
congratulations.
yeah, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so yeah, feel the fear.
Wow. That's incredible. Oh, wow. Where did you do that? Was it in the UK?
Yeah, it was at the Hinton Skydive Centre in Northampton. My husband's had cancer, so I wanted to give back, and I was asked to jump for Hope Against Cancer, which is a local cancer charity here in Leicestershire.
Mm.
And yeah, so I threw myself out of a plane at, oh God, I think it was something like 20,000 feet. I can't remember, but it was a really interesting day because we had two layers of cloud, and I was hoping for a semi-cloudy day because I wanted to actually free fall through the cloud, and I managed to free fall through the cloud, and then the next layer of cloud was with the parachute open, and it was just amazing. I'll do it again tomorrow.
Oh, wow. And let me ask you this question. I suppose what I imagine is the silence, but you must hear the ruffle of the parachute. And I just wonder, what do you hear absolute silence, or do you just hear the parachute?
Well, as you first like jump out of the plane, your parachute is still like packed,
Mm.
and all you can really hear at that point is the sound of the like the wind around your ears, and just that kind of like buffeting of clothing. But then when you do like pull the cords and you eject the parachute, then yes, you can start to hear that noise of like it's almost like sheets in the wind.
Yeah.
But because you're kind of like encapsulated within it, it's a really deep sound, and you can feel the vibrations through your body kit that you're wearing of the wind in the canopy. Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow, that's amazing. Well done, you. What an experience.
Loved it.
Did you get a good photograph of you doing it, and have you blown it up on a big canvas in your lounge?
I've got loads of photos, but I also had it videoed. So when I jumped, I had a woman that jumped. Obviously, I was strapped to my jumper.
Uh,
Um, and then there was a lady who videoed it for me as well. So she was in front of me, videoing me as I like left the plane, and that moment of fear when you think, oh my God, I'm going to have to go, and you just literally like fall out of the plane. And
Yeah.
yeah, she was there videoing it all until you do the parachute, and then off she goes. And yeah, and then she's there on the ground to watch you kind of like come in and walk off. Yeah,
Do you know, I think once you've done something like that, there's absolutely nothing you can't do. And then not just that, that just what describes what you said, feel if you enjoy it anyway. If you've done that or
yeah,
something not even as mammoth as that, there's nothing you can't do. And your internal dialogue must be, well, I've jumped out of
yeah,
the plane, so I can easily stand up in front of 1,000 people and talk in this room. So,
yeah.
oh wow, that's amazing.
And it is,
That's incredible. Well done, you. And you raise money for the charity, and that's fantastic. Oh
yeah.
wow, I wasn't expecting that. You are full of
There you go. I like to
surprise.
drop the odd mic every now and then.
Definitely a mic drop. Wow. And on to my final question. Do you read? And if you do you have a favorite book?
I, excuse me, I do read. I'm an avid reader of biographies.
Mhm.
I love a good biography. One, because I'm nosy, uh, um, but two, I like to know what makes people tick, which is kind of like what I do. But I also like to know people's backstories. But I'm I'm heavily into my music. I love all kinds of genres. I play classical piano. Um, but I love The Doors, and Jim
Ah,
Morrison was one of my heroes. So I've read copious amounts of books on him. Somebody said to me, if I was to do mastermind, what would be my specialist subject? Jim Morrison would be my specialist subject. Um, I like books that are sporting people. I'm heavily into my rugby, so rugby books, especially Brian Moore, and I was lucky enough to meet him as well at an event. But I also loved Sophie Kinsella, her books,
oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
shopaholic books.
yeah.
They were always my go-to in the airport for a holiday read. You know, I'm not a big fiction reader, but those were my go-to books. And unfortunately, when she passed away this year, it was very sad. But yeah, I
Devastating.
have an
Oh,
array of them downstairs in my downstairs toilet of books.
yeah. Yeah, what an absolute talent. I've read some of her books as well. It was an absolute loss. Um, but yeah, I'm always curious as to what other people read. I love reading as well. I do like a good story about other people, and yeah, it's interesting what motivates you as well about other
Mm,
people, and again, it must be that, well, they've done that, so I can do that, or
yeah,
and yeah, those little markers that we have
yeah,
in our life. Well, thank you for that. Fascinating. I wasn't expecting it. Wow.
yeah.
So back on to more about you. So tell me what inspired you to start your business and how has your personal story shaped your brand?
Okay, so I won't go right the way back to the beginning because we've been here for a very long time. But basically, I had a corporate career for 30 years. I was in senior leadership, and I got to the point where I burnt myself out, not once, but twice, both times ending up in hospital and in various parts of the world, might I add.
Oh,
And after I came back from my second bout of burnout, I was working for a very large IT company, household brand. Um, kind of had a bit of an epiphany and thought, what do I really want to do with my life? Because whilst I love my job, my job doesn't love me anymore. I'm still very capable of it, and it just didn't sit right with me. So while I was thinking about what I was going to do in my next chapter of life, they made me redundant, which to me I take as a good sign, as a good
hmm.
thing, because it made me seriously think about what I want to do. But as part of my role in corporate, I was a women's wellness advocate. I was a mental health advocate. I was a menopause specialist. So I would support women within the corporate environment. And loads of people said to me, that's kind of like your calling. That's what you should be doing. You know, you're so good at it. Just blow my own trumpet there for a minute. And
No, but it is what it is. I love it.
that's one of the reasons why I do what I do now, because I see so many women, especially in their 40s plus, struggling. And I had one of the reasons that drove me to get involved in women's wellness was because I had a hysterectomy when I was 36 years old. And back then, there wasn't the support, that's nearly 20 years ago, by the way. There wasn't the support that there is now for women that are in menopause. So that's why I studied and learnt about the menopause all those years ago and have kind of like stuck with it, and then qualified as a menopause wellness practitioner, and then studied health and nutrition, like what we need to eat now as opposed to what we need to eat, what we weren't eating then. And that's how I've come to be doing what I'm doing now. But as also, as you know, just talking about health and nutrition, my background is I'm also a ex-bodybuilder. I've competed on stage over the last, 8 years or so. And that takes strength, not just physical strength, it also takes mental strength. And you have to have a strategy in place to be able to get to that like level to stand on a stage. It's not all about eating chicken, rice, and broccoli and picking up and putting down heavy weights. There's a lot more to it. And the mindset side is often very underestimated of what that does to you in your thinking and the people around you. So I bring all of that into my FAB program to help women that are stuck, want to pivot, don't really know where they're going in the next stage of life, or just want to get on top of their health and well-being because they know that what's got them here isn't going to get them there.
So what does your FAB program, how does that work? What does that stand for?
So it's called the FAB framework, and FAB stands for fuel. So how we nourish our bodies, what we need today to be able to perform at that optimum level. Activity, what activities should we be doing? And it's not just about going to the gym. There's a multitude of different activities that we should be doing at this stage of our lives.
I'm laughing because that's the equivalent of me buying a DVD. People say, "Oh
Exactly,
yeah, go to the gym."
Yeah, I've got the DVD. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go from a size 23 to a size 6
Yeah.
overnight. Sorry, it's disappointing. We don't work like that. It took me years to get into the shape
Yeah.
that I need to stand on that stage.
Exactly.
And then B is beliefs. That's all about the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves. The things that stop us, that inner voice that keeps telling us that we can't do it. And the most common one I hear is, I'm too old. And it's like, no, you're not too old. Age is just a number. You are at the perfect place at the perfect time, right here, right now.
So interesting because when I'm a coach as well, and we always use sporting metaphors to explain to business owners about mindset and visualization and the work that a sports person has to put into run a race or be a bodybuilder or do all those things. And we talked earlier, didn't we, about the strategies in place. And it's not just about, oh, I've run, this 200 meters or whatever. It's about, the lifelong learning, the muscles, the food, the strategy, the mindset, and mapping that requirement for a business is the same, but it's quite difficult to kind of make people understand it's the same discipline.
Yeah.
And there's no magic fix. There's no 5 minute I'm going to get rich quick or I'm going to get healthy quick or I'm going to be a bodybuilder quite quickly. And I'm curious about your visibility in that case. So how did you grow the visibility of your business? Was there a turning point when you thought, actually, I've got this amazing product, I've got this knowledge. I've seen your cat.
I just think that's the cat's
It's
appearance.
gorgeous. Cats and children, pets and
Yeah,
children are very welcome on my podcast.
it's
Um,
Jemima.
oh, how did you grow your visibility then? Because you've clearly got the know-how, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the lived experience. How did you develop your visibility in that case?
Um, multiple ways, multiple channels, lots of activity on what I would call the traditional social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. They're the three main platforms that I use. But also being part of the Professional Speakers Academy, I am now doing more talks on stage, attending events as a live speaker, which is I think that's a really important part of your strategy, because people then get to see you. There is so much in the world these days that you don't know whether it's real or it's fake when it's online.
Mm.
And that I'm seeing a big kind of like shift in people wanting to rekindle what I call that conscious connection,
Mm.
and being able to like see, touch, feel, and it helps to build trust in your brand that yes, you are real, you're not an AI bot, and there is so much of that happening these days. So I get myself out, I get myself into networking meetings, I go to events, I have a newsletter, but I also kind of like bring in sorry, my cat is determined to get in on
Okay.
that.
It's gorgeous.
But also my experience as standing on stage, like dressed in hardly any clothes, like for bodybuilding competitions, that level of that confidence doesn't come overnight. That takes time, and again, that's part of that mindset piece. Is I can do it. I can do it. So yeah, I use a multitude of platforms, and at the beginning, it was really difficult to just like put myself on camera. I was afraid to like even just speak on a reel or on a Facebook. God, to even think about going Facebook Live or Instagram Live. Oh my God, that just filled me with dread. But now that's very much part of my everyday strategy, is being out there. Even the old traditional ways of flyers in coffee shops, in places where your ideal client would hang out. Like I have posters in my gym, people get to know me. Coffee shops, local areas. It's all about trying to be the go-to person in your local area rather than trying to be everything to everyone across the world. So I focus very much at the moment on my local area because I know that my ideal clients are in my local area.
You're absolutely right. And it's just occurred to me, so much AI around, and building your personal brand is so important because people want to connect.
Mm.
They want to know us, with our flaws and our imperfections, because that's what makes us real, and they want to know about our journeys and what we learned along the way, because AI is growing so quickly, and it has its place, and I really like AI. But just for my own personal example, when I'm bored, and not bored, but in the evening, I like watching funny videos on TikTok just to empty my mind. I like watching
Yeah,
things that make me laugh. But now I'm watching and I'm going, that's not real, that's not funny. And
yeah,
no, it's still funny, but it's not real.
yeah.
And if
Fake
you
humor.
remember, yeah, now they're being curated to be deliberately funny, but it's false. And do you remember the joke about people watch the internet for cats? That's what we watch mostly on on
Yeah,
the internet is funny cats.
yeah,
And as AI grows and gets bigger and better, they're talking about AI clones now. I
yeah.
can in theory clone myself, and someone else could do this, and you just think that's just so worrying. And
Super.
it is, and you think about the big personalities, I won't name any names, but the big personalities in the world today, if someone were to be cloned and say something really bad, that could have so many repercussions.
Mm.
And so I think for me personally, I'm going to make more of an effort to show up as me, just the human, so people get to know me, and that's just my little bit that I can do in the world
Mm.
today to be human and connect and grow my personal brand. And, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I don't get everything right, but that's what makes me me. And you're
I
absolutely
like
right.
that.
Hmm.
I like that, and you're right about the internet. I mean, I think it was David Baddiel that said, because he's got a thing on the TV at the moment about cats. He said the internet was originally made for porn. Not anymore. It's made for cat videos.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're so right about everything's got to be appear polished.
Hmm.
And I've come across videos like that, and I'm like, no, that's not good. It's too polished. I like the videos where people are genuine, they're authentic, they fall over, they make a mistake, the camera's slightly wobbly, because I always say it's progress over perfection.
Yeah,
show me your flaws and insecurities, then I can relate to you and I know you're a real person. If you turn up every day looking like an Instagram model, your hair's fixed and your lip is all done all
exactly.
the time, I'm like, something's not right there.
And we have to think about young girls. I'm just going to refer to girls because I'm a mother
Yeah,
of girls.
yeah,
I was always aware of the message that they were receiving. And, it terrified me that they would go online and think, I have to look like this, I have to talk like this, I have to wear this. And I just think that the world needs to see more women like us of our age just
yeah.
showing up and being normal. Because if they don't see normality, their view of the world and their view of what
Mm,
they think the perception of normality, I just worry about the mental health and the pressure of having to be a certain way. So when my children were very, very young, we talked about Photoshop, and luckily enough they did it in school, and I got magazines and I showed them that this isn't real.
yeah,
There's no pores on this woman's face, there's no fine hair. So
yeah.
they were very, very acutely aware, but I think we have a responsibility to turn up as ourselves without looking you know, normal, just
Mm.
normal, and without being so perfect. Um,
And
so
it's hard work being perfect all the time.
it is, it is, and you know what? Have you seen her? Oh, I forget her name. Forgive me. From the Thornbirds, the beautiful.
Yes, yes,
She said, and I'm going to hold this quote in my heart. She said something about the biggest relief is letting go of your age and beauty
yeah.
because you can't carry it on, and
Oh,
she's aged appropriately.
yeah. And I like that, and again, that's about being your true, authentic self.
Mm.
I turn up to the gym and I probably look the scruffiest person in the gym. I don't go there to like, I don't know, I see women in there that are all made up and everything. And I'm like, why? You're going there to work out. That's
It
what
is
the gym
funny.
is
Yeah.
for. It's
Going
not
to the
bloody
gym with all
posing
your makeup and
parlor.
your hair.
Oh God, no, there's me. I've got odd socks on. I've got the wrong coloured top on, and it's like, but it's almost become that. It's almost become kind of like my gym brand. People know who I am because
Yeah.
I look like a misfit.
But that's your personal brand, isn't it? That's you. They know you for you. You
Yeah,
you you would you show up as an identity because you've created that for yourself. I
yeah,
th I think that's amazing, and I can't imagine going to the gym and doing all your makeup, fixing all your hair when you're going to do a workout and your makeup's going to
exactly.
slide off.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody said to me in the gym the other day, he said, "Oh, you do actually look like that in real life." And I thought, should I take that as a compliment or not?
That's the best compliment. That
Yeah,
is the best compliment because if someone doesn't recognize you from your social media feed or your
yeah,
there's the disconnect. And that's probably what we're trying to say in a long-winded
yeah,
way.
yeah,
That's the disconnect. If someone doesn't recognize you or you're completely different from your online persona, your personal brand is broken.
yeah, yeah.
It's not working. No, that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to give that a whole lot more thought. Um, so, what advice would you give to someone then who says, I hate promoting myself?
I'd go back to my motivational quote: "Feel the fear and do it anyway." Because a strategist told me once, you can be the best secret in the world, but you don't want to be the best secret in the world. I'd rather be the not best secret, but known about, or not the perfect person, but known about. Because again, visibility is what makes people relate to you. There's nothing worse than showing up as a faceless account. So
Mm,
I would say, be you, be natural, go out there. There is something like, what is it, 25 billion people in the world or something, and you're one.
mhm,
There is only one of you. I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, "You are unique. There is only one of you."
mhm,
So yeah, just embrace it.
mhm,
And if you get cruel comments on Instagram, delete them,
mhm.
block them. Don't take it to heart. Everybody these days has got an opinion. Everybody thinks that they've got the right to pull you apart and break you down. I'm sorry, but no, you haven't, and I'm not
Um,
going to let you do
no,
that.
and that's what the block button is for. And
Yeah,
and I always say if someone says something cruel, honestly, give this some thought. It says more about them
Yeah,
than it does about you. And I think that takes a lifetime to understand that.
yeah,
When you're young, you take it all in and you think, oh, there's something wrong with me. No, there's something wrong with them. And I wish more young people
100%.
understood that really, because it's a waste of life when you let all that bother you. But you're absolutely right. We are unique. There is only one of us, and each one of us has a unique gift to bring to the world.
Yeah,
And once you work that out, once you understand that, what's the worst that can happen? Bring your gift, bring the thing that's uniquely you to the world, because you're doing a disservice if you don't. And
yeah,
I quite like that concept. I think that's a nice thing to.
yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, you're not going to be everything to everybody. People are like Marmite.
Mhm.
Some people you like, some people you don't, you know. And if that person's not for you, move on.
Yep, absolutely. Move
No,
on. Yep,
move
move
on.
on. Unfollow or block.
Yeah, but
So,
be authentically you, be true to yourself is what I would say. Just embrace it
and and
and
when you're
have a
not true to
strategy.
yourself, pardon?
I said, but have a strategy behind it, why you
Yeah,
want that visibility,
yeah,
where it's trying to get you to, and what you're looking to achieve.
yeah.
There's no point just posting random TikTok videos that all they get is likes. That's just vanity.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Is it going to move you closer to your goals? Keep your goals in mind, your mission in mind, and that'll keep you on
Yeah,
track.
stay on your path. Or as we used to say in the corporate world, stay in your lane. God
Corporate
forbid I
world
should
has
be
a lot to
let.
answer for, doesn't it?
Oh God,
So
yeah.
you're accomplished at speaking on stages, and that thought does terrify a lot of people. Do you have any confidence tricks or any words of advice for someone who's thinking about that at the moment?
Um, before I get on stage, obviously there's a lot of time and preparation and thought into what I'm actually going to say. And one of my mentors told me that when you are, or taught me rather, and I stand by this, when you are preparing a speech or a talk, don't write everything out word for word. I use imagery. So I would create, because I tend to talk, I try to talk, I don't use notes. I do use like slides. And yeah, and be very confident with your clicker. But when you are creating your presentation, I use imagery so that I think, oh, that picture, that's what I need to talk about at that point. Next picture, that's what I need to talk about that. And have a framework in place of how you're going to talk about it and how you're going to structure it. Practice, 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 practice. Video it, practice it. You can't do enough practice. But before I actually kind of like do the walking out on stage, I used to do this as well in my bodybuilding days before I used to go and walk out on stage with hardly any clothes on. um, I used to have what I called my Taylor Swift moment. And I used to stand there and like shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, deep breaths, inhale, and then just visualize on how I want the audience to feel as I'm giving this speech. Because when you can take an audience to a place where you want them to go, you breathe, you live off of that, you breathe off of that. That gives you that energy that you need. So for me, it's all about just getting in that moment and not, and again, feel the fear. Nobody knows what's in your speech. Nobody knows what you're going to say. So if you go off track, they don't know that. The key is to know how to get yourself back on track.
Mhm.
But yeah, be, be breathe, breathe,
Yeah.
breathe. Yeah, yeah. And again, it takes confidence. And I'll admit, yeah, I was batshit scared the first time I walked out on stage. But once you've done it a few times, it's like riding a bike. And the size of the audience, don't think about the size of the audience. Make good eye contact with people. Don't spray your eyes everywhere. Focus on like several people on the front row or whatever. And that helps to keep you grounded because you're not then looking at this expanse of faces. You've got a concentrated focus and it helps you feel more confident. And if you feel more confident, your audience feel more confident, and they tend to believe, or they will believe more in you and trust what you've got to say.
That's sound advice. And I think you're right. The more you do, it's like anything, the more you do, you get
Mm.
more confident, more relaxed, and it's nerve-wracking. I wouldn't
Oh,
suggest for anyone to do, your first one to be in a huge audience, but smaller audiences and build it up and build it up. But yeah, you're right. If you make a mistake, only you know you made a mistake. Your
yeah,
audience doesn't know what your narrative is, and you control the narrative. It's all,
yeah,
that's the thing that people overlook.
yeah. But you say about don't step out on stage to the a large audience first time. The first time that I entered like a proper bodybuilding competition, it was down in Margate, and I stepped out on it was just after COVID. So people were like, "Oh, I can get out, I can get out." And it was like I think there's probably about 300 people in the room. But at
Oh,
the time, what I didn't realise was Ollie Murs was actually sat in the audience
was
because his
he?
wife Amelia was competing at the same competition.
Really? I love Ollie Murs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And his wife was competing. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's
Amelia
amazing.
was competing. Like this was quite a few years ago
Yeah, yeah,
before she's
yeah.
had whatever. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, wow. What a story. You have to write a book.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Oh, do you know what? I have absolutely loved our conversation.
me
And
too.
yeah, it's so fascinating. Where can we find out more about you online, Joe?
Okay, across all the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you just search for Joe Paget or Joanne Paget, you'll find me. I think I've got an Instagram account which is Joanne Paget underscore women's wellness coach. But I've also got my website, which is www dot. Do we still give out the W's these days? I'm not sure. But anyway, Joanne Patchett, all one word, .co.uk. And all the details about the FAB framework, you can find it on there and how to get in touch with me.
I will put all the details in the show notes for the podcast. And thank you so much for joining me, Joe. I have absolutely loved our conversation. We could have talked for days about your incredible life. Well, thank you
Thank
so much for joining me.
you. It's brilliant. I've really enjoyed it, Amanda. Thank you.